Sometimes those who commit crimes are not always villains.
I will work tirelessly to keep drunk drivers off the road.
Today's cases will fill your eyes with tears when you see all the acts of tenderness and kindness that can happen within the walls of the courtroom even after the best of hearts happen to commit heinous crimes.
Disclaimer.
Here is Valerine Keano-Knittle, who is being prosecuted in Hawaii for first-degree negligent harm and first-degree negligent homicide. Before her life took a catastrophic turn in May 2009 due to driving under the influence, Valerine Keano-Knittle was an ordinary lady. Her blood alcohol content was 3 times the permissible limit. Her truck barreled through a red light as she drove down the road, hitting a car that was carrying Aaliyah Braden, age 17, and her mother, May Evelyn. It had a disastrous effect. In the tragedy, Aaliyah died and her mother suffered serious injuries. Everyone was shocked and in disbelief at the terrible scene. Wayne Braden, holding his daughter's blanket, sobbed as he spoke about how much he missed her outside the court.
Her scent is gone. You can't smell her anymore. She's gone. She's gone.
Even if the loss was devastating, the courtroom proceedings would soften even the hardest hearts. Wayne Braden, Aaliyah's father, displayed a picture of his cherished daughter in court. He spoke to the court his sorrow and rage with a mournful heart. Overcome with remorse and guilt, Valerine Keano-Knittle spoke before the court while crying.
I will work tirelessly to keep drunk drivers off the road.
She expressed regret and sorrow as she entered a guilty plea to her charges. She admitted to causing the Braden family grief and suffering. She cried and asked for forgiveness, knowing that there was nothing she could do to make up for the pain she had caused. It was a painful moment. However, what transpired next was really remarkable. Wayne Braden got to his feet, walked over to Valerine, and gave her an incredible hug. Tears filled the courtroom as the need for understanding and forgiveness was emphasized. Elizabeth Strauss, the judge, was impressed by this extraordinary act of kindness. Valerine Keano-Knittle was ultimately sentenced to 10 years in jail for her deeds. In addition, she was requested to cover the costs of her funeral and medical restitution. Now that she is sober, Valerine Keano-Knittle has vowed to stop others from making these same mistakes. As in the instance of Trey Alexander Relford, some prisoners are astonished by the victim's family's response to their remorse. In Lexington, Kentucky, Trey Alexander Relford is being charged with murder. In April of 2015, Trey Relford was involved in the unfortunate murder of Salahuddin Jitmut, a pizza delivery man. Delivery driver Salahuddin of Pizza Hut was robbed and fatally killed in a Lexington apartment building. It was a violent act without reason that rocked the community. Relford was the only one to face charges, despite the fact that 3 people were involved in the crime. Relford entered a guilty plea to attempted evidence tampering, participation in robbery, and complicity in murder during the hearing. He could have received the death penalty if found guilty at trial, but he asked for forgiveness and acknowledged his guilt. He apologized to the victim's family for his conduct and displayed sincere regret.
I'm sorry about what happened that day. But I do applaud you. Because it takes a powerful man to know that somebody has hurt them. And do what you, get up there and say what you just said. I have a child. She was 4. And I can imagine the hurt, the pain from losing her. Just touch it like you do. So when I let you, very forgiveness.
The father of the victim, Abdul Munim Sabat Jamud, took a remarkable action. Relford was hugged and forgave by him, a display of the Islamic spirit. According to Abdul Munim, forgiving is regarded in Islam as the highest kind of altruism. He thought that by pardoning Relford, he was pardoning God himself. He gave Relford a deep encouragement to start a fresh chapter in a happy life.
Forgiveness is the greatest gift or charity in Islam. I have to pour myself out to forgive someone that have wronged our family.
As Abdul Munim Subat Jamud took the stand to make a victim impact statement, the courtroom was awash in surprise. He said that rather than being angry with Relford, he was angry with the devil, since the devil had led him to do such a horrible thing. He also extended forgiveness to Relford on behalf of his late wife and son, moved by compassion.
I feel so sad for you that you have to be in this situation. I wish I could help you as I help my son to be a good citizen. If Salahuddin were to be here, if he alive, he will forgive you. That's the way he was. That's the way he is.
Everyone in the courtroom, including the judge, was moved by the unexpected forgiveness. It was a truly remarkable act of kindness and mercy. Even Relford's mother sent her sympathies and thanked the Jamut family for their forgiveness.
And I know I am deeply sorry for your loss. And I thank you so much for comforting me and my family, because I was shocked to hear your forgiveness.
The prosecutor made it clear that Relford's forgiveness did not release him from accountability. The evidence suggested that he had a major role in organizing the robbery and executing the murder. He even downloaded an app to hide his cell phone number in an attempt to evade being discovered. Judge Kimberly Bunel ultimately imposed a 31-year prison sentence on Relford. It is comparable to Samantha Davis's tragic situation. She is charged with homicide in Cincinnati. In 2016, Samantha Davis, then 32, was at the center of a sad incident. When things started to go wrong, Samantha was in Blue Ash, driving her pickup truck on Interstate 275. As she was pulling off the interstate onto I-71, she lost control of her truck and it crashed into a cement barrier. Samantha's truck was thrown out of balance due to the force of the impact. The sad aspect is that her pickup rolled over the barrier and crashed into a car that was driving along I-71. It took the lives of 2 innocent people in the crash. The 41-year-old Sabrina Miller and her 67-year-old mother Sandra Tell were on their route to the University of Cincinnati's commencement ceremony. Samantha's admission that she was using drugs at the time of the tragedy made things worse. She was not only stuck with the shame of unleashing such destruction, but she also had to deal with the legal fallout from her actions. Samantha was charged with 2 charges of aggravated narcotics possession and 2 counts of aggravated homicide by vehicle. Samantha Davis, who was crying, used the trial as an occasion to address the court and express her regret for what she had done.
I want to apologize to both your family and mine for the ripple effect this has caused. I can't pretend to know the pain or hardships you have all endured these last 3 years. Although I may have my own, my mind is always flashing back to you and reminding myself that regardless how bad I might think I have it, you guys definitely have it worse.
The victim's family accepted her apology and extended forgiveness during a tearful exchange.
Losing a child in any case is painful. My children have lost both their mother and their sister, and every day it is difficult. I live with the knowledge that I will not get to hold her or to hug her or to hear her say to me, "Hey, Dad," when she greeted me. I want Miss Davis to know I do not hate her. I have forgiven her. I think justice, however, needs to be served.
It appeared like justice had been served. However, in 2021, Samantha's world completely collapsed once more. On a technicality, the First District Court of Appeals reversed her convictions. It was discovered that a crash reconstructionist police officer had testified at her trial without having given the defense a written report in advance. According to the court, Samantha was denied adequate legal representation as a result, which caused her convictions to be overturned. Samantha was given a fresh trial when her convictions were overturned, but she chose to go in a different direction. She agreed to a plea deal earlier this month and entered a guilty plea to the charges. Judge Leslie Giz of the Hamilton County Common Pleas Court upheld the agreement's conditions and sentenced Samantha to 5 years and 4 months in jail. She will serve an additional 21 months in prison since she was granted credit for the first 43 months she had already served. Eric Windhurst is the man accused of murder in New Hampshire. When Eric Windhurst committed a horrible crime in 1985 that went undiscovered for a number of years, his life took a terrible turn. It all began when Melanie Paquette told him that she was being molested by her mother's former spouse, Daniel Paquette. Scared and worried about Melanie's safety, Windhurst made a bold decision. Armed with a gun, they headed out to confront Daniel Paquette together. Unfortunately, Windhurst fired gunshot of Paquette into the confrontation fatally. The case was unresolved for around 20 years. Melanie did, however, eventually admit their role in the crime to the authorities. Windhurst apologized and expressed regret for his behavior during the hearing in a measured manner. He described what happened in 1985.
I'm so ashamed of my crime. This will never end for me. I'll never forget what I've done, and no matter what, I'll always try to be a good person, whether I'm in prison or not.
Melanie was afraid that if her abuser found out she had spoken up, he would hurt her family. Still, Windhurst said he was sorry for acting like God. He acknowledged that he ought to have driven Melanie to the chief of police's residence instead. Ultimately, Windhurst entered a guilty plea to second-degree murder in the hopes that his expressions of regret would lessen the suffering he had caused. However, even his lawyer, Mark Sist, admitted that he might never get the Paquette family to forgive him. After being found guilty of second-degree murder, Windhurst was given a 15-year prison term with the chance of parole. Melanie herself spent 15 months behind bars for a crime involving obstruction of justice. If you want to see more questionable cops and insane arrests, click the next video on screen.